Right, today I'm going to take a look at the 30 amp charge controller. This charge controller can do 12 or 24 volts, and it also has a temperature sensor on the top here, and this is what it comes with in the box. But looking inside here, I don't see anything inside here, so I'm not sure how useful this thing is. I'll try it later. And at first glance, it's pretty big. This one is a 20 amp controller. I previously also had a review on this. This is a 20 amp controller. Look how big it is compared to the 20 amp. It's a 30 amp controller. Also, the connections inside here is pretty impressive. This connection here, I mean, it's a 30 amp controller, so in theory it should, it would just have to fit in a size 10 wire. As you can see here, I have two size 10 wire inside a single slot here, and it will fit in just fine. So for a 30 amp controller, it has to fit at least size 10. Size 10 is rated at 30 amps, size 8 is rated at 40 amps. But I think this slot here can probably fit in size 6. Probably. Size 8 easily, but size 10 is very comfortable in here. So that is pretty good. This one does not have a USB port. You can see here on the top there's a rectangular port here, but it's empty, which is supposed to have a USB, but this particular one does not have a USB port. I see some other controller that looks exactly the same but has a USB port. I think that's very useful, but this one does not have a USB port. Right, so I have my panel ready to plug in, and before I connect my solar panel, let me show you this. I have a 24 volt solar panel, and let me show you the voltage of my solar panel right now is 38.1 volts. This one, not that. That's the voltage of the battery. Okay, 38.1 volts from the solar panel. So I have a 24 volt panel. By the way, 24 volt panel is not really 24 volt. It's usually around 40 volts open circuit when it's not under load. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to connect my 24 volt panel into a 12 volt system. So right now the controller is connecting to my 12 volt battery, as you can see here, 12.7 volt right now. That's my battery bank, and let's connect my 24 volt solar panel into a 12 volt battery bank to see if it still charges my battery. Alright, solar panel connected, and as you can see, the arrow inside the arrow start to blink, and the voltage of my battery bank start to increase. Now it's 13 volts. So as you can see, it charges just fine with a 24 volt solar panel, even though it's a 12 volt system. So this acts as an MPPT charge controller. I mean, it's a PWM, but the MPPT charge controller usually it can take any voltage as long as it's higher than your battery bank, and it will bring it down to match your battery bank voltage. In this case, the same thing happened, but this is not an MPPT. It's not as efficient, of course. I mean, this thing costs how much? $20, $30. The MPPT charge controller costs, say, $400-500. So of course can't compare this to an MPPT, but as you can see, it charges just fine, even though it's not as efficient. It's a PWM controller. But anyway, there you go. It works just fine with 24-volt solar panel. As you can see, my voltage of the battery is pretty full. I set it at 13.7 volts float charge, and it is float charging right now. You can see it's going up and down, going up and down, up and down. So it's turning on and off the charging. So it's like trickle charge the battery, and my battery does not get over 13.8 volts. So it's like trickle charging my battery right now. Alright, so next I'm gonna try this temperature sensor thing. It looks like a useless plug, but look, and it looks empty too. Look, doesn't look like anything in here. But let's just plug it in and see what happens. Let's change it to temperature now. Celsius. Okay. Let's plug this in and see what happens. Right now it doesn't show anything. As you can see here, 30 degrees Celsius, which is not really accurate. The current temperature here is around, I would say around 26, 27 degrees Celsius. But I mean, that's about what, 10-15% error. It's bad, but not that bad. Not sure how useful this thing is. Maybe it has a temperature compensation, compensate for the battery temperature, but it's not accurate. I mean, you have to have a wire to go from here down to your battery, because room temperature is not necessarily your battery temperature. So next, just gonna remove. Let's see what we got next. So this is the voltage of the maximum voltage you want to charge your battery at. So I'm setting it at 13.7 volt because my battery is a sealed lead acid battery. Load on. So this is the voltage where you want to automatically turn on your load when your battery start charging from empty. So say your battery was empty, so it automatically turn off your load, but you want to set a voltage where it will automatically turn on your load. So in this case 12.6 volts. So once the battery is charged up to 12.6 volt, it will automatically turn on your load. In this case, I don't have any load. I mean, I don't usually use the load because it has to be the same voltage as your battery bank, which is pretty much useless. I mean, I use an inverter for all my loads, so this is not particularly useful for me, but may be useful in some cases where you have a street light, a 12-volt street light, and you want to turn it on at night and off during the day. This might be useful. Let's see what we got next. Load off. So this voltage at 10.7 volts. So when your load runs down your battery down to screensaver down to 10.7 volt, it will automatically turn off your load to conserve your battery. Okay, so load on 24 hour. This is default setting. That means your load is always on, so once you connect in here, it will automatically turn on. See what else we got. That's pretty much it, and everything else is automatic. Even when you connect a 24 volt panel to a 12 volt system, it still automatically charges your battery, which is pretty amazing. I mean, usually a charge controller can only do, for a 12 volt battery, you need to have a 12 volt solar panel, which is around 18 to 20 volt open circuit to charge your battery, and it doesn't usually like to take a higher voltage from your solar panel to, bring it down to 12 volt. And this one will do it just fine, which is pretty good for the money. I mean, for the price you pay for this one, it's pretty cheap. That's pretty amazing. Right, so let's hook it up to my 24 volt battery system and see what we got. Alright, you can see my battery is at 24.7 volts, and let's install my solar panel. Alright, solar panel is installed and now is charging. You can see it's charging my battery. So it works just fine with either 12 volts or 24 volt battery system. And because this controller, you can adjust the charging voltage, so it can also charge lithium ion batteries. And previously I charged my lead acid batteries. So let's see if we can charge some lithium ion batteries. What I have here is 3 4.2 volts lithium ion batteries, and that will make it 12.6 volt at full charge. This one here is a cordless 2 battery, and it's a 24 volt cordless 2 battery. This is a 6 cell battery pack, and it's at 25.2 volts at full charge. This one at 12.6 volts. So let's try this one to see if it would charge my lithium ion batteries. Positive to positive. Well, my wire is quite small. That should do. There you go. You can see it's at 11.9 volts right now, and I have my solar panel ready, and it is a 24 volt solar panel. And let me show you the voltage of my solar panel right now. And about 36 volts right now. It's a 24 volt solar panel. So right now it's at 36 volts, the solar panel. Let's hook up my solar panel and see what we got. Alright, so as you can see, it's charging my battery pack, and the voltage is increasing. And when you go to menu, you have to adjust this voltage to 12.6 volts. So press and hold this button. Okay. Otherwise, you're gonna overcharge this battery pack. Let's try again. So press and hold this button. Until it blinks, and then press the minus button to lower it to 12.7 volts. There you go. The minimum is 12.7. You can't go any lower. And press and hold this button again to confirm. Now it's gonna charge the battery pack at 12.7 volts. Let's go back to the first page here. So you can see it's charging my battery pack and the voltage is increasing. But now, instead of charging my battery at 13.7 volts, it's gonna only go up to 12.7 volt max. And the maximum that this can handle is 12.6 volt. And that's just 0.1 volts over 3 batteries. And if you divide each battery, divide that by 3, you got 0.03 over voltage when you're charging with this controller. So that's not much. That's within the tolerance of this battery pack. So that should be fine. Okay, so charging fine with 3 cells. And now let's see if it's gonna charge with 6 cells. By the way, I'm using a 24 volts solar panel to charge a 12 volt battery pack. Usually you have to use a 12 volt panel to charge a 12 volt battery pack, but in this case you can see it charges just fine. So let's unhook my solar panel. Alright, it's unhooked, and now let's remove this battery pack and let's try my cordless 2 battery. So this cordless 2 battery, I have metal clips to install in here, and it's got a positive and a negative pole. And then I'm just gonna hook it up to my controller. Got positive here. Make sure you don't put it in reverse, because it will fry your charge controller, because this charge controller does not have a reverse current protection. It's kind of awkward here. Okay, let's try this. $24.7 volts. So at full charge it's 25.2 volts. So my battery is almost full. As you can see, got 4 bars. But let's see if it's gonna charge my lithium ion battery pack. So let's first go to the voltage adjustment. So 25.4. So it automatically adjusts to adjust to the 24 volt battery system. So before we have 12.7 volts max. Now it's at 25.4 volts. If you take 12.7 times 2, that's 25.4. So it's automatically adjusts. And we'll remember the last setting. So let's install my solar panel. See what we got. solar panel installed and is charging. As you can see, the battery voltage is increasing. So let's double check here. 25.4 max, so it should be fine at 25.4. Alright, so it's charging fine with a lithium-ion battery pack. So not only this controller can charge a lead-acid battery, it can also charge a lithium-ion battery pack, which is pretty amazing for the price. I mean, this is pretty cheap. So basically, with these charge controller that have adjustable voltage, you can charge a 6-cell or 3-cell lithium-ion batteries, and it's this one here is pretty much the same as this one. This is a 20 amp controller. You can see here it has 3 buttons. This one here also has 3 buttons, and the screen command is almost identical, except that it's just this one is just bigger to handle more current. But the screen control is almost the same on these 2 controllers. And I did a review, review on this. Also show you that this can charge these lithium-ion batteries, and I'm gonna put a link in the description if you want to see it. And I guess that's all I have for now, and until next time, thank you for watching.